Antarctica is often referred to as a continent of superlatives. It's the southernmost, highest, driest, coldest, windiest, and iciest continent on the planet. Thick ice covers about 98% of the land in Antarctica, and huge ice shelves stretch out for miles along much of its coastline. It's a cold, dry desert where terrestrial life struggles to survive. However, the ocean surrounding Antarctica is as rich in life as the land is barren. Antarctic krill are the keystone species of the ecosystem, attracting larger marine mammals like whales and seals, as well as many bird species, including penguins, who all rely on the krill for food. This makes Antarctica one of the best wildlife destinations on the planet, and nowadays many expedition cruises take intrepid tourists down to the White Continent in the summer months. In the first part of our two-part series, we boarded our expedition ship from the world's southernmost city, Ushuaia in Argentina, and spent the first 2 days of our 10-day cruise getting acquainted with the ship as it crossed the infamous Drake Passage en route to the Antarctic Peninsula. We had an incredibly smooth crossing and arrived to the White Continent ahead of schedule and with glorious weather, meaning we got to do a bonus Zodiac cruise that evening, where we spotted our first wildlife of the trip before enjoying a stunning sunset from the roof deck of the ship. Now, in this video, we'll show you everything that we got to see and do over our unforgettable 5-day stay in Antarctica.
If you're new here, we're Kitty and John, and we love to travel and experience new cultures. Whether we're setting out for the world's southernmost continent or just exploring our own backyard in the UK, our passion for travel and seeing new places never seems to fade. Recently, we've been spending much of our time in South America and have really fallen in love with the continent and its people. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more adventures from this incredible part of the world.
Good morning from our first full day in Antarctica. It is absolutely gorgeous, as you can see. There is no wind, clear blue skies. It is just the perfect weather to explore. So today we're going to be doing 2 different expeditions. We're going to be doing a Zodiac cruise this morning, and then in the afternoon we're going to be actually landing on the continent. I don't know if it's the actual continent because it's probably going to be one of the islands, but it's still going to be amazing to land for the first time in Antarctica.
Our morning Zodiac cruise took place in Fornia Bay on the northeast coast of Amvers Island. This large bay is surrounded by giant glaciers stretching down from snow-covered mountains and is a popular feeding spot for humpback whales. As we watched the crew prepare the Zodiacs from the deck on what really was the most pristine morning imaginable, our excitement continued to build until it was finally time to board our own boat and head out into the bay. This was easily the most magical morning we had out on the Zodiacs. The bay was shining in the sunshine, and even if we hadn't seen any wildlife, it still would have been one of the coolest things we've ever done. However, the bay was occupied by countless pods of feeding humpback whales, so that no matter which direction we looked, we were able to see them breaching the surface. We were lucky enough to see plenty of flukes as they dive beneath the surface, and were even fortunate enough to have a pod come almost directly underneath our boat. Having never seen a whale in the wild before, this was certainly the ultimate first encounter.
Oh my gosh, we just had the most amazing experience in the Zodiacs this morning with the whales. The humpback whales got so close to us, it was incredible.
We were so close and you just like see them, watch them and wait for the moment. I was like literally ready to take pictures and probably got like thousands of photos just from this morning. We're gonna go again this afternoon.
So the plan for this afternoon is to land on a little island. There's supposed to be a penguin colony there. So we're very, very excited to finally land on Antarctica and hopefully see a lot of penguins.
We cruised south across the Gurla Strait and into another bay on the other side. We were still surrounded by incredible glacier landscapes and continued to catch sightings of whales and penguins in the water before we got our first glimpse of the island we'd be landing on that afternoon. After a delicious buffet lunch served in the main dining room, we headed back to our room to gear up, which was always quite a lengthy process due to all the layers.
And the final accessory. Right, ready for a Zodiac.
Then we set out from the boat in our Zodiac again. Due to there being a limit on the number of people allowed on land at a site in Antarctica at any one time, the afternoon excursion always included a short Zodiac cruise before or after your landing so that they could stagger guests accordingly. This was great as it essentially meant we got 2 Zodiac cruises and 1 landing every day. On this particular cruise, we saw an abundance of wildlife, from watching adorable penguins enter and exit the water to spotting our very first leopard seal chilling on an ice floe. The water here was pristine and clear, and some of the surrounding icebergs had the most incredible shapes, patterns and colors in them. After enjoying the bay and wildlife from the Zodiac, we headed into the landing site on Cuberville Island in the middle of the bay. After some safety information from the expedition leader, we were able to disembark and take our first steps in Antarctica.
We are standing on the continent. Admittedly, it's just a small island off the peninsula, but it's still amazing. This soil is Antarctica. These rocks are from Antarctica. And we've landed in the middle of the biggest Gentoo penguin colony in the whole of Antarctica. Over 7,000 birds here, they were saying. We're just surrounded by penguins everywhere we look. Look at the view behind me. It's insane. You still have to pinch me to believe that we're actually here in this landscape.
I can't believe I'm literally...
Your feet are in Antarctica right now.
My feet are touching Antarctica.
Unbelievable feeling.
It's still very surreal.
Yeah.
Huh? Like I feel like one minute I'm just like taking pictures, one minute I just want to take it all in. The next I'm like a little kid just jumping around, walking the penguins.
So you're allowed to walk within very carefully designated areas. These red flags here, to follow those along the beach. Not get more than 5 meters from a penguin, unless obviously they come to you and then you just stand still. And then obviously they have like an end bit where they put a cross flag and you have to stop there, and that's as far as you can go.
This island was home to an enormous colony of Gentoo penguins, something that was not only obvious with their eyes, but with their ears and nose as well. Gentoo penguins were by far the most common penguin species we saw during our time in Antarctica, and we grew to love watching them go about their daily routines in this epic landscape. As we'd experienced with our penguin encounters in Puerto Madryn, the penguin will just come and go regardless of you being there, so we always had to keep a watchful eye and give way to any penguins wanting to cross the beach. We were in their world after all. about an hour on the island, we headed back to the Zodiacs and made our way across the bay back to the ship. After the mandatory check-in and decontamination procedure, we headed up to our favorite place on the ship for panoramic views of another incredible sunset.
So it's the end of our first full day in Antarctica, and what a day it has been, honestly. If we only got one day in Antarctica, you could not have asked for a better day to spend here. Just amazing, from the Zodiacs this morning to seeing all the whales, and then the penguin colony in the afternoon. For the next 4 days, it will be very hard to top what we've experienced today. If the weather is anything like this, then I will be happy, and if it's not, I'll still be happy because we got to experience Antarctica at its very best. Hopefully the rest of the video won't just be us showing you whiteout vistas, and hopefully we do get some nice weather and we can show you even more of this amazing continent over the next few days. Just look behind you, look at that.
That's right. I'm still waiting for somebody to like literally pinch me and shake
I
me
know.
to awake and be like, hey, kitty, come on, time to rise.
But what
Go to
amazes me
work.
is there's nobody else up here. Like, what is everybody doing? Why are they not out here enjoying this whilst
They
they
might be
can?
on the lower decks.
One of the bonus activities here, as well as kayaking, is that you can go out camping on the Antarctic Peninsula itself. And when I say camping, I mean like you literally just lie on the snow in a sleeping bag. It's not like in a tent or anything. It's very, very raw. So these guys are going out to camp over here on this little speck of land in the snow in minus whatever it is going to be tonight temperatures.
I mean, it might not be their best night's sleep, but it will be an adventure that they'll never forget.
Oh yeah, definitely something to tell your grandkids that you actually slept on the Antarctic continent. But for us, I think we're happy in our nice warm bed, watching them go and spend the night over there, and we'll hear the stories in the morning.
I mean, my fingers are going numb just sitting here.
Yeah.
My circulation is so bad, I wouldn't survive.
No, we're just happy to be on the ship and enjoying these spectacular views at sunset.
Okay, this is our fourth full day on the ship and the second full day on Antarctica, or around Antarctica. And it's not a beautiful morning. It will get a bit cloudy later on, but the plan is for the morning just to cruise around, spot some wildlife, and hopefully we can do some landing in the afternoon.
I can't believe we've got another nice day. So all of this out here, stretching along here, is the actual Antarctic Peninsula. All the way down here. It goes on as far as you can see. This was the only morning of our trip that we didn't get off the boat to do a Zodiac cruise. Instead, the activity for the morning was cruising up and down the wide Gale Strait on the ship in the hopes of spotting as much wildlife as possible. The Gale Strait is a large channel that runs between the Melchior Islands to the north and the Antarctic Peninsula to the south, and is a fantastic place to spot whales and penguins from the ship. The goal of the morning was to try to find a pod of orcas, with the staff giving us a 50-50 chance of spotting some. For the most part, we saw plenty of humpback whales feeding and lots of penguins chilling on icebergs in the middle of the channel, but despite sitting out on the deck pretty much all morning, the orcas continued to elude us. We still had an amazing morning watching the incredible landscape and ecosystem around us though. Gosh, you can see it. Oh. If nothing else had happened, seeing the humpbacks come right up next to our ship would have been an amazing highlight of the morning in itself, but then, just as we were about to head for lunch, the crew announced that they'd spotted a pod of orcas ahead of the ship. So we all rushed to the front of the boat for an unbelievable wildlife encounter.
my god. We were sitting around the whole morning. It was beautiful. We spotted a couple of whales, penguins, seals on ice. But then just as we were about to go to lunch, they were announcing that there are orcas at the front of the ship. So they opened the bow, which they only open like certain times, and everybody was rushing towards the front, and we could see like so many orcas. And at one time they swam like literally right next to us under the ship, so you could see like the outlines of them, which was just amazing. I'm not even hungry now.
No. Honestly, the best wildlife encounter of my entire life. That was just...
The whales were pretty good.
The whales are amazing, but the dream was to see orcas for sure.
God.
And that was more than I could have ever hoped for. Like, to see them right next to the ship swimming, the outlines. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know how you can top this. I keep saying that, but it just keeps getting better and better and better. So I've come back to this beautiful bay where we were yesterday this afternoon, and we're going to be heading to a place called Danko Island, which is just behind the island where we went to see the penguins yesterday. The weather is still absolutely gorgeous. The water is super calm. It's just going to be another amazing afternoon. I don't know quite how you can top the wildlife encounters we had this morning. Anything we do here is just always amazes me. This is the island we were on yesterday, the penguin colony, and then we've just come like back deeper into the bay. Over here is the island we're going to be landing on today. So this is where the penguin colony is. I think it looks like we're going to be walking up the slope a little bit, crisscrossing across the Penguin Highway. This bay is just spectacular. If we didn't go anywhere else in Antarctica, this would be enough. Second time in Antarctica on land, again not quite on the continent, but I think this landing spot is even more beautiful than the last one we were on. It's just stunning, this bay. No wind again, clear skies, and we're actually able to do a hike up through the penguin colony and potentially to the top of the island, so we'll get really nice views, all the channels and the mountains and everything.
Hiking in Antarctica.
It's like your ultimate fantasy.
I know, right?
The path took us up to the top of the island, providing us with stunning views of the bay as we climbed. We took our time not only to take in the incredible views and to watch the penguins as they made their way to and from the colony, but also because it was really warm in all our gear. We honestly could have done this hike in a t-shirt and been quite comfortable, which is not something we expected to say about an Antarctica excursion. Wow, look at this place. 360 views all the way around. Amazing.
Incredible. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, I have no words.
Where are we? We spent a good hour on the island soaking in the incredible scenery before pretty much being forced back down the slope to the boats. After cleaning the penguin poop from our boots, we hopped back in the Zodiacs, headed back to the ship, and had another delicious evening meal. Honestly, just a really incredible day 2 in Antarctica. I think it's going to be very hard to top that weather-wise, wildlife sighting-wise. It was just the ultimate experience, really. As you can see, like the clouds tonight have started to come in, so tomorrow I think it's still going to be clear, but it's going to be a lot more overcast.
mist, so we're not going to get those beautiful blue skies. As long as it stays nice and clear and we still get lots of wildlife, then I'll still be incredibly happy. If you could just like pack Antarctica into one day, then this would have been everything you could have asked for and more. It ticked off so many bucket list items for me, seeing orcas for the first time, seeing humpback whales in the water, like the outline of them. It was just incredible. So I don't know where we go from here. We still have 3 days left. Catch up with you guys in the morning. We're going to take our hot chocolates and hopefully see some more whales before the end of the day.
Our third full day in Antarctica began with a Zodiac cruise around the stunning Charlotte Bay, a little further up the Antarctic Peninsula from where we've been the past couple of days. The weather was definitely more overcast, but there was still incredibly little wind, meaning the bay was super calm and visibility was excellent despite the clouds. We were able to spot seals and birds chilling on the ice floes, as well as the ever-present humpback whales feeding around the bay. There were also some beautiful icebergs with gorgeous patterns dotted around. However, the highlight of the morning was seeing a pair of crab-eater seals playing in the water around an iceberg, which we sat and watched for quite some time. In the afternoon, we headed to Musnia Point at the entrance of Charlotte Bay, where we would be making our one and only continental landing, meaning we would actually get to set foot on the Antarctic mainland rather than on one of the islands. As we boarded the Zodiac for our cruise prior to landing, we couldn't have known that this exciting activity was about to be overshadowed by a once-in-a-lifetime wildlife encounter. We got a report from the captain that a humpback was breaching at the end of the bay, so we rushed out there to see if we could get a glimpse of this impressive spectacle in action.
Your feet are on Antarctica right now. Turned into a penguin.
I mean, yeah, after what we just experienced, this is I'm still in shock.
We made it onto the Antarctic continent, officially the mainland.
Oh my God.
So we've finally ticked off another continent.
Before Africa, and all the other continents.
The hardest one. After what we just saw in the bay, it just feels like so kind of like anticlimactic almost. But every time in this video, I think I've said it about 5 times already, like I don't think you can top what we've just seen. We just top it again. What a trip,
it
honestly.
was worth every penny and more.
Yeah.
You know, the disclaimer, we got very lucky and you just sometimes have to be at the right place at the right time with the weather, wildlife.
So yeah, we're going to head up to the Antarctica flag, take our picture.
Take a tourist photo with a flag.
Of course. And have a little explore. Shoot past people.
Whilst not the most interesting landing site visually, it was still amazing to spend some time on the continent of Antarctica and get our pictures with the flag. Then shortly after returning to the ship, we got some exciting news.
They've told us that we're going to be doing the polar plunge today, which seems to be a staple of any Antarctica cruise. Not sure how I feel about it. I've seen lots of people doing it, and you're only here once. You have to do it. It's like a rite of passage. I don't know what temperature the water is. Definitely sub-zero. Right now would be a great time to do it because I'm pretty cold after getting back from the peninsula, but now they've said it's going to be like half an hour, just enough time to warm up enough so that it's really going to hurt. The last thing on the agenda for today.
What a day.
And what an incredible day.
I think you can tell who's going to jump and who's going to take the video. I mean, I'm not a swimmer. I think you know it by now that I'm not a water baby. Unless it's the Caribbean Sea, I'm not jumping in there. I know I might get some backlash because of that, but it is what it is.
Somebody's got to film it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Please don't die.
I joined the line of brave or crazy people waiting to take their turn at plunging into the freezing waters of the Southern Ocean. Kitty waited patiently up on the deck, filming other people's plunges and the crew's efforts to keep drifting icebergs and an interested spectator from getting too close to the area we were jumping from. Seeing people with smiling faces coming back out definitely helped to ease the nerves, but it felt like a lifetime before it was finally my turn to jump. Super cold, but really wakes you up. Really amazing feeling. About 5 seconds after you get out, it just feels like your whole body is like tingling and alive. So nice, refreshing, wakes you up instantly. When you're under the water, it doesn't really feel that cold, but as soon as your head pops up, you can feel like how cold your face is and you're a little bit disorientated, like where's the dock? Honestly, it's like so refreshing. No more than a few seconds, but it's very nice. We then had a delicious hog roast out on the stern deck for our evening meal before, you guessed it, heading up to our favorite spot on the ship to sum up what had been a truly incredible day.
Just finished our third full day in Antarctica, which sadly means we're more than halfway through the cruise now, but I just keep running out of superlatives to describe this place. We didn't think anything could top yesterday with the orcas and the humpbacks, but today with the whales breaching was just something that I didn't even think was on my bucket list. I didn't think I would ever be privileged enough to witness that, so to capture it from so close was incredible. As you can see, it's getting cloudier and cloudier. They have forecast snow for tomorrow, still very low winds, so we'll hopefully be able to get some really nice kind of moody snowy shots without it feeling super cold. All of the staff keep telling us that this is like so unusual to have this amount of good weather this many days in a row, so we're feeling extremely blessed right now, and we're just surrounded by this beautiful landscape with whales just feeding all around us. Like, what is life even right now? Insane.
Good morning everybody, this is day 6 on the ship and day 4 around Antarctica. This morning, this is the first morning we actually woke up to some moody skies and snow, which is incredible. Like, I genuinely thought this is what I'm gonna see for the majority of the trip, not the clear blue skies. So it's beautiful this morning. It's actually nice to see some snow, and we're having breakfast shortly and then we'll be going out on a Zodiac cruise. So I'm looking forward to taking some nice moody snowy photos, and hopefully later on we'll be seeing some chinstag penguins too. I'm excited about that, although I don't think anything will beat the real breaching experience we had yesterday, but it's still something new that we've not really seen, so there's always something new to look forward to.
Our Zodiac cruise in the morning was around a small island called Sprightly Island, in a bay a little further north again from where we'd been the previous day. This actually turned out to be one of our favourite Zodiac cruises, as the bay was so calm and peppered with little chunks of ice, which really made it feel like we were charting a path into the unknown. We saw a small colony of penguins on the island and more seals snoozing on the ice floes, and the light was so nice despite it being a little overcast, highlighting beautiful patterns in icebergs and mysterious mountain peaks in the background.
After making our way back to the ship, we moved a little further north for our afternoon excursion onto Hammock Island in the Girl Strait. By this point, the weather conditions had worsened and snow was falling pretty steadily. The wind was fairly low though, which meant we were still able to do our planned landing on the island, home to a large colony of chinstrap penguins. We hadn't seen too many chinstrap penguins up until this point, so we were excited to get up close and see them in action.
Exactly. It's a bit slippery here. So beautiful with the snow. A little bit cold, but beautiful.
Yeah.
The picture of the part I was pointing out when we started to grow on the female penguin out of the ocean. Later on.
We really enjoyed watching the chinstraps going about their daily business despite the weather conditions making it difficult to stand still for too long or hold a camera steady. In all honesty, it was genuinely nice to experience an afternoon like this, as it provided a small taste of how harsh conditions can get here and what these penguins must do to survive in this isolated environment every day. We were definitely glad we could return to the nice warm ship after an hour or so.
The wind's picked up a little bit, so we're really starting to appreciate how lucky we've been that the wind's been so low, because the temperature drops significantly with the wind chill. The snow as well makes it kind of cool, and we've seen the chinstrap penguins, which are one penguin that we haven't seen yet. My fingers are probably frostbitten right now.
Cold.
It's really, really cold.
Well, we're in Antarctica.
Yes, now it really feels like we're in Antarctica.
I think what we had was like a Caribbean breeze.
Hawaii of Antarctica. So unfortunately this is going to be our final day here in Antarctica. The weather is still being very nice to us. We've still got very still, calm days, bit overcast but beautiful. The plan for today is to do another Zodiac cruise in the morning, where we're going to be heading out this way towards Spurt Island. Then we're going to be heading to a landing point on Trinity Island, where there should be a few more Gen 2 penguins which we can take some cute pictures of. So it should be a nice final day here in the Antarctic continent before we head back to the Drake Passage again, and we're really not sure what we're going to get with the Drake Passage. Hopefully we're going to get another smooth journey like we did the last time out, but who knows.
Our Zodiac cruise around Spurt Island was by far the choppiest of our excursions, which made us appreciate just how calm all of our other cruises were. The waves weren't massive, but in the small boats they certainly felt like it. We didn't see much wildlife on this cruise, but the coastline of Spurt Island was very impressive, with huge rock arches and channels cutting deep into the rock. The highlight for us though was the enormous circular iceberg sitting just offshore, which was so big it seemed like an island itself. Being our final Zodiac cruise, the crew came out in onesies to deliver us all hot chocolates with a little splash of Baileys, which was a very welcome treat to warm the hands on a cold morning.
Can't believe it's finally happened.
Everything comes to an end, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is our final excursion out onto Antarctica. We have been incredibly lucky to get every single planned excursion, morning and afternoon.
Yeah, and an extra one as well, because we arrived a bit earlier and it was a beautiful evening, so we absolutely cannot complain. It's been incredible.
I know what this landing's going to do because I can smell it. It's a very, very strong scent of penguin poo. So yeah, we're going to make the most of this final outing. After this, straight back onto the Drake's Passage. Back to reality.
Our final landing was in Mickelson Harbour on Trinity Island, just around the corner from Spurt Island. The landing site was home to a large Gen 2 penguin colony, but also some sleepy seals and a large collection of whale bones. On one side of the landing site, an enormous glacier towered above us, making everything everything in its shadow seemed tiny in comparison. And on the other side of the site, we got incredible views out towards the peninsula with the penguin colony and an old Antarctic research station in the foreground and humpback whales feeding in the shallows just offshore. It was a scene that really epitomized everything that we had come to love about Antarctica, so we stood and enjoyed the views for as long as possible, knowing that after we left this little slice of land, our Antarctica expedition would be as good as over.
Our final excursion is over. It was a really beautiful landing site again.
It was a nice one to finish on.
Yeah, put Antarctica in one picture and that was it. We just tried to kind of put the cameras down a little bit and just enjoy it and soak up where we were, because sometimes you get lost. You're just taking pictures and videos all the time, you forget to actually appreciate where you are. It's just nice to soak it all in for one last time.
Next time we'll be of this ship will be in Ushuaia.
Bye bye Antarctica!
Bye!
We've started sailing towards the Drake Passage, staying out here for as long as possible and soaking in the views.
All the whales are coming, saying goodbye to us, the penguins are jumping. I'm pretty sure we'll be back one day.
Amazing.
The next 2 days were spent recrossing the Drake Passage, which turned out to be another incredibly smooth crossing as we somehow managed to thread the needle between two storm systems. The evening before we arrived back in Ushuaia, we got to see the most incredible sunset from the ship, a beautiful ending to the trip of a lifetime. Eventually though, we found ourselves sailing back down the Beagle Channel into Ushuaia, where we docked and spent one more night aboard the ship before reluctantly disembarking early the next morning. Looking back on this trip now, it's not easy to put into words the impact that it had on us. For starters, any trip that we plan going forward from this point is always going to have to compete with Antarctica, something that not many places in the world are going to be able to do. It's one of the most unique landscapes on the planet, with some of the most beautiful scenery we've ever seen, filled with wildlife encounters that we could only have dreamed about. But more than that, Antarctica touched us on a personal level, making us appreciate even more the value and importance of protecting our planet's fragile ecosystems for future generations. Any trip to Antarctica is going to rank up there with the greatest travel experiences of a person's life, so to have the incredible weather conditions that we did for the duration of this trip only heightened what was already an extremely memorable journey. We would go back in a heartbeat and definitely have our eyes now on a trip to the northern regions of our planet. Until then though, we will always have these incredible memories. Thanks for watching.